Okay, today we're looking at this Kingston HyperX FURY DDR4 memory. It runs at 2400 MHz, so nothing too special, but we want to compare it against other value memory which runs at the same speed to see if it makes much of a difference. The CL rating on this is a CL15. The recommended retail price of these is roughly £40. That's £40 for each stick, so that's an 8GB stick and another 8GB stick, so that'll be £80 in total. So it's a little bit more expensive than some of the other value ones on the market, but we'll actually see if it makes much of a difference spending that extra £5 or £10 a stick compared to others which are exactly the same speed rating of 2400 MHz. Otherwise, the packaging itself is clear packaging, just says HyperX across the front. In small writing it does give you the specifications on the side, so not very good if you've got to hang it in a shop or something like that. It's hard to see what it is until you look. And on the back you can just see the warranty information peering through the plastic packaging. Inside the packaging all you have is a nice HyperX sticker, a basic warranty / installation guide, and then the memory stick itself, which looks pretty nice. It does look quite effective, but then again in most cases you're going to see a memory stick look from that angle, so the only bit you're going to see for most of the case is the bit what says HyperX on the edge. So it doesn't matter really how much it looks from there, because you're not going to see it all the time unless you've got a really special case or designed a certain way where you can see the components. On the back of the memory stick it just tells you the specifications on there, so there's not a huge amount. We're going to test this against some other memory, again single 8GB sticks as well as a 16GB single sticks, as well as running them in dual channel mode just to see how they perform. So let's get down to testing. In basics, what we've done is tested the memory against other memory of similar or the same speed. Some with heat sinks, some without, some well-known brands like Kingston, Corsair, and other brands like Patriot and Team, just to see how it actually performs. And actually, if there's any difference really between the makes of memory you get, or is it just down to the specifications. We've tested this memory in a average gaming PC because, well, what's the point testing it in a high-end machine? Because most people who've got high-end machines are not going to be buying value range memory. The specifications of the machine we're using is a Thermaltake level 20 MT case with a Gigabyte Aorus B360 motherboard, a GeForce 1060 graphics card, a Thermaltake 700 watt power supply, and we've also got some water cooling from Thermaltake as well. Otherwise it's set up just as a normal home PC would be, Windows 10 Pro, but we're going to see something very similar on here throughout all the slides. It's pretty much all the results very similar, with some tests running better on the HX memory, and then some tests running better on the Corsair, and some on the Kingston, and so forth. And even the value Kingston RAM wins some tests as well. But averaging it all out, and they all get roughly the same scores, with the only exception would be when we're testing one 8GB stick in comparison to two 8GB sticks, and even dual channel at this speed doesn't make a huge difference. So for example, two 8GB sticks running dual channel don't perform that much better, if any, than one 16GB stick which is running at the same speed. Obviously, please bear in mind that results will differ on the systems you use. Using a high-end system, you may get a few different results. Specifically, if you're using an AMD platform like the Ryzen processors, they can be quite sensitive to memory speeds more so. But on a mid-end Intel machine, you won't see much difference between the memory. The only thing what we did see where it did fluctuate slightly was temperatures, and saying that, the temperatures were pretty much roughly where we expected. The ones with the heat sinks did actually get a little bit warmer in most cases than the ones without not the heat sinks, which is surprisingly. But if you think about it, the actual heatsink is sort of holding the heat in because it's not really getting that hot. The hottest they got to was about 40 degrees, which is generally a lot cooler than most of your components inside of a computer.